Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another show on the Sports Music and Live podcast. Today, I'm going to be covering the night of the ring, the night of champions in Saudi Arabia that has just happened this weekend on DAZN. And it had some really good fighters on there, very good fighters on there. And I am going to start with the first fight, which was the best fight of the night for me. Absolute cracking fight. As always, I will go through my notes round by round, give you a little insight of what's happened and my thoughts on it after, and try to give a bit of the knowledge about it. But at some point, I won't go round by round because it was very, very samey again in the fight. So there's no point going over the same stuff, is there? Right, so let's get into it then. So, it was fight number one for the vacant World WBO Super Lightweight title fight, and that was Abdullah Mason versus Sam Noakes. Abdullah Mason being from America, and Sam Noakes from Britain. Sam Noakes is undefeated with a good knockout record. Abdullah Mason also undefeated with a good knockout record. And it was a cracking fight, honestly cracking fight. Fight of the day, whenever you watched it. For those who live in Britain, it was on quite early, wasn't it? So, anyway, round one. Good first round from both fighters, getting straight down to it. Both landing a variety of punches and combinations. So, yeah, they got stuck into it straight away, got straight into it. They was landing their punches, combinations. And it was looking like it was matching up for a cracking fight. As always, though, some fights can, not as always, sorry, as sometimes, though, some fights can start off like that and very easily fade out, as we will find out a bit later on. So round two, very competitive fight for both, equaling each other. Hard rounds to call. Mason is the quicker fighter, Noakes the stronger, catching each other with good shots. So, yeah, I think they were very hard to call, but Mason's speed was amazing, and the stronger and aggressiveness was coming from Sam Noakes. But Mason was really boxing really well. He had the better variety of boxing skills and punches, but that doesn't mean Sam Noakes was out of his depth, because he was nowhere near out of his depth. So going into round three, a lovely uppercut from Mason and hurts Noakes. Noakes fighting back. Noakes has a cut eyelid. It was from a head clash that he got the cut from. First clear winning round that has to go to Mason. So yeah, that was the first clearing round where his speed and ability was starting to show that he had a bit more about it than boxing ability, better than Noakes. He could have well won all three, and I think, to be fair, you couldn't have argued which way they went, but I think he definitely won the third one, but it's only by nicking the rounds. They both only won it by nicking the rounds. So let's get into round four then. Back comes Noakes with a winning round. This fight has been pretty much the same, both having success all round. All the rounds are close. So yeah, so they're both having success. It was a bit the same. They're both landing their variety of punches. But this is where Sam Noakes got clever, and I'll get into it in a bit later on. Round six, the game was the same. Mason wins the round. He got in. Oh, he got a turn. Sorry, I was just So he got a telling off from the corner. So he come out and he boxed really well in that one. Sorry, my note was a bit all over the place there, sir. So then I stopped writing notes, because it was very much where Mason would win a round, then Noakes would win a round. And that could have been the way all the way through the fight. And two of the judges at the end had it like that, although I felt... So we're going to jump to round 8. First body shot from Mason, didn't like it. He looked troubled, and that is what won the round for Noakes. Great round for Noakes. Yeah, Noakes started going to the body a bit more. He's renowned for doing, and he was also closing the gap up too. So when he closed the gap up, he didn't give Mason the room to do what he could do, and with his boxing ability and his right punches and his movement, he closed the gap, he kept it up close, at range, Mason was going to win this fight. So round 9, in round 9, the fight has been a round for round. If Mason is to win this, it is because of the landing the cleanest shots with his speed, and at times he has missed. Noakes has missed, but not badly. It has been a very competitive fight throughout. So at this point, I stopped writing notes. So it's a hard one to call. Mason was the better when he wasn't drawn into a scrap, and he boxed and moved. Noakes was winning the fight when he kept it up close, like I just said, and didn't give Mason the room to box. Both fighters doing it, digging into the body at one point too. They're really digging in the bodies, and there was some cracking body shots going into that. Let me tell you that. And they were tough people, real tough fighters, and it was an absolute boxing beautiful fight, an absolutely boxing war. It had it all in it. They're both boxing very well, is what I'm trying to say, but it was a war at the same time. Noakes had more damage to him though. You could see it in his face. He had the cut eye, the nose was busted open. Noakes was also hurt in the 10th round, didn't go down, stayed on his feet, and Noakes was starting to look more tired. The 10th round was a Mason round, but that was the pattern, like I said, of the fight. And then Noakes comes back in the next round, so it's the next round again that Noakes is coming back, looking to hurt Mason with the body shots. Noakes goes to the body shot and to the head. Noakes a bit all over the place. What a fight. Noakes won the last. So I gave Noakes the last 2 rounds on that, and I felt he won that. And this is where I thought he could have won it, or the fight could have been a draw. A draw would have been a very fair shout, but if one of them nicked it, because it was that good from both fighters. Mason gets the win in the end. I think anyone would love to see that fight again. Even the commentators were saying it. But my thinking on that, if Mason and Noakes fight again, I do think if Mason learns his lesson, he will box it better at range, where he was better at range, and keep it in the outs fight. It could be a boring fight, a second fight, or it could live up to the expectation as the first one and be an absolute cracking fight. So fight 2, I was really looking forward to this because it was Jesse Bam Rodriguez. I've heard so much about it, and the commentator Barry Jones on DAZN, he spoke highly of him for a long time, and I see him fight against I forgot his name now. Sorry, it's gone out of my head. Sonny Edwards, and. But that was only the highlights that I got to see that. But this is when it showed what a good fight he was to me, and I've watched little highlights over him. So, and obviously him being in America, it's hard for British people to watch fight. But really was looking forward to seeing him fight, because I've heard so much, and I can see why after this fight. And he was fighting Fernandez Martinez in a unification fight for the super flyweight titles, the WBO, the WBA, and the WBC. WBC belt were on the line, and the Ring magazine too. Both fighters are undefeated, and so let's get into it. So in the round 1, good opening round. It started off with both fighters having a look. Bam getting behind the jab. Martinez was trying to be the aggressor, and Bam making Martinez miss, and that became the pattern of a lot of the fight. To be fair, Bam using his really good boxing ability, making Martinez miss. This is round 2, making Martinez miss at times. Bam's footwork is really good. Martinez is having success, but Bam has won the first 2 rounds. With Martinez is really loading up on his shots, and he's really trying to throw them hooks in, and Bam was just making him miss. It's very easy with the little slips and that. And I've gone into round 3. It was very much the same, and Bam was boxing Martinez's head off. At this point, I stopped writing the notes because it was looking like a one way what was going to happen. So let's have a read but I have wrote notes down, just haven't got round by round. So Bam is starting to affect Martinez with the body shots. I heard about the angles that Bam uses, and I can see why everybody is raving about it. So Martinez was trying to really load up with a lot of hooks. Bam making him miss a lot when he does. Not much is landing from Martinez. He is having his head boxed off. The nose is causing Martinez problems. Bam has a variety of punches going to the body and head and completely outclassed Martinez in every round. Bam landing so many lovely shots. Round 6. So round 6, something else might have happened here. Martinez is in the first minute, finally gets some really clean shots, and he has struggled to do that for most of the fight. Martinez is really tough all through the fight. He gets wobbled in the 9th, and Bam with a lovely shot in the 10th. Down Martinez goes, and the only time he'd ever been down was in the last fight, and that was in the same round. That's what the commentators were saying. The commentator curse come back to bite him on his ass, and he was flat out and he couldn't get up, and Bam went on to win that with a stoppage in round 10. So fight 3, which is Devin Haney at welterweight. I believe he was making his debut and he's gone straight in for the WBO welterweight world title shot, and that was against Brian Norman. Brian Norman being the champion, he is undefeated and a knockout fighter. So I don't know anything about him. I was just going by what the commentators were saying. I've never seen Norman fight before. Seen Haney fight quite a few times. Haney is undefeated champion, looking to be a freeweight champion too. So round 1 took a while to get going until the last minute. Norman finally gets to Haney and gets some shots off. Haney getting on his bike, using his footwork, trying to keep out of range. So he wasn't so much on the running on his bike. I noticed a bit more in the fight to what he normally is, Haney. I mean, if anyone sees his last fight, he spent it running around the ring most of it. But he was killing himself at that weight. And he looked fresher, fitter and stronger at welterweight. So round 2, Haney stays in range. This time waiting and time to time Norman. Sorry. So Haney was waiting to time Norman, and he finally did, and he landed a lovely hook. Hook. Sorry, got to find the notes again. And then later on, Haney with the same trap, and down goes Norman. And I thought Norman could have been really hurt from here, and he looked like his nose was busted open for Norman, and he looked hurt sitting in the corner, and you're thinking, right. And this is where he showed what a heart he had. And this is what makes champions in boxing, they say. And if you ain't got the heart, then there's no point being in there. That's what I was always told. And I tell you something now, he showed great heart, because he come out. So round 3, fair play to Norman. He comes out trying to be the aggressor, but Haney is slipping a lot of the shots. Haney doing what he does best, countering the punches, and lands nice shots himself. So Norman was really trying to go for it. He couldn't pin Haney down for most of the fight. So round 4, Haney jab has been solid in these opening round. Haney outboxing and keeping out of range from Norman. Norman struggling to pin Haney down to land much. Haney is winning this fight so far. Round 5, so I've jumped. Yeah, so round 5, Norman trying to land a triple jab. Haney with a lovely 1-2. Another round to Haney, and is winning these rounds very convincingly. Staying out of range, making Norman miss. This is the pattern or the game plan. So that's all this Haney's game plan is, to make him miss and pay. And it can be quite boring to watch when it's like this, but it was more. It did die out the fight for me, if I'm honest. It did die out the fight for me. It got a bit boring, and I think I jumped to round 7 before something was even worth writing down again. Going into round 7, Haney now looking like he wants to get the job done, landing a solid 1-2 at the start of the round. Back got back to his boxing and keeping out of range. So he goes back to his boxing and keeps out of range again. So just when you think Haney was going to step on the gas a bit more, he didn't. I think it was 10 fights they were saying that since Haney stopped someone. Back to boxing and keeping out of range and making Norman miss. Norman does finally does something significant with a lovely 1-2 in round 8, and again in the last minute of round 9. The fight started off really well, looked to be an exciting fight. The fight became very samey. Haney dominated the fight. Haney has to have won the fight, and he did, rightly so. And that is about as far as it goes with that, really. I mean, it was a watchable fight, but it was boring at times. It depends what you like in boxing. For me, I like the fight like the Sam Noakes and Mason fight, because it's action packed round, and they both want it. So right, so fight 4. David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde for the WBC Light Heavyweight World Championship. Yarde just come in short twice in his world title shots. Benavidez being the champion, undefeated, and a 2-weight world champion. I was very surprised how Yarde approached this fight, because it wasn't how Yarde normally fights. And I think this is, whether he would have won it or not, but this is certainly for how he definitely lost the fight for me, because he wasn't the aggressive person that he is normally. So, round 1, working out first round, seeing where they can land the big shots or the key shots, both being big punches. So that's how the first round went. I'd say Benavidez was more on top of it. And he's quite more the aggressor and on the front foot fighter. Round 2, both fighters now letting the shots go. In the first minute of the round, Benavidez lands the better combination shots. Both fighters having success in the rounds. Another tight round. Yarde using his footwork to get out of range. So Yarde had the better footwork and the range and the movement to get out of the way of Benavidez, who was coming in at him. In straight lines, and Yarde was moving to the side, to either side, to get out of the way. So it was a fairly good start for Yarde, but then maybe when Benavidez sort of upped his game, and this is when it went a bit odd for me for seeing Yarde, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So round 3, Benavidez being the aggressor and the front foot fighter, like I just said, and wins the first clear round. Yarde hasn't thrown any punches with venom, jabbing to the body. Yes, normally Yarde will throw punches with venom, and it just wasn't there. It just wasn't there this time round, which is very confusing, because that's not how Yarde fights normally. Round 4, nice solid jabs from Benavidez, really starting to let his hands go with power behind the shots. Yarde holds on to the gloves. So Yarde was holding on to Benavidez's gloves, and I don't know how many punches he let go, but he just went bang, 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 bang. Yarde taking them all, the shots. Wasn't affecting him, but he could have done it a bit later on down. And I've got on here, Yarde hasn't got going yet. It just didn't look like he was getting going in this fight, really. It just seemed like he was waiting, reserving, because he's been stopped so many times later on in the fights, especially in world titles fight. Maybe it was that. Maybe he was reserving himself, and it didn't work. Round 6. So we're going into so round 5. So this is what I was going to get into. So a lot of tippy tappy shots from Yarde. Benavidez being the pressure and aggressive fighter, and it's like Yarde is waiting for something. It's like he was waiting for something, waiting for that one big shot to land, but he just couldn't find that big shot. Round 6. Yarde's best round to start with the looks. Best round to start with. Looks as though he is trying to box this fight and not fighting with intentions of the killer instinct and going for the knockout. Benavidez busted the nose of Yarde, and he took a lot of big shots. Looks like that had really affected Yarde. So his nose had been busted open, and this is where the end was coming. His nose was busted open, and He looked like he was starting to be in a bit of trouble. So going into round 7, not long into round 7, down goes Yard. He was trying to throw big shots, looking to hurt Benavidez. Yeah, and this thing, when Yard was trying to throw them big shots, it's like there was nothing there, nothing behind it. And anyone that knows Anthony Yarde, he can bang. He can really bang, but it just, the power, the energy, I don't know, just something wasn't there that night, and it was not nice to see, because I think he's better than that, Yarde. Benavidez returning with his own big shots, which led to Yarde going down. Benavidez has a point taken off him because he punched Yarde on the way down. Yarde fighting back, but there doesn't seem to be power he normally would have. Benavidez pins Yarde on the ropes near the corner, unloads and lands a big shot, and the ref jumps in, and from round 6 the ref looked like he was going to jump in. So it looked like at sometimes that the ref was going to jump in and stop Yarde. He was having a very good look, whether he was waiting for the time or not, and I noticed it towards the end of round 6, I think it was, if I remember rightly, that he looked like he was going to jump in. So unfortunately Yarde come up short again on his third at World 10, and I think maybe go up to cruiserweight for Yarde now, because he's tried everything he can achieve at light heavyweight, and if it was because of the weight, and maybe because he was drained and tired from the weight, maybe it might work for him to go up to cruiserweight and see what he can do up there. So that was a good night of boxing. Got to see some new fighters. Never seen Benavidez. Heard a lot about him, so it was good to see him fight. Bam Rodriguez. And like I say, the best fight was for me was the Mason and Noakes fight. Absolutely outstanding fight. So thank you for listening anyway again to the Sports Music and Life podcast. I'm going to bring this show to an end now. I'd just like to thank everyone for listening. Please like and share and subscribe to the channel, and I'll be bringing you more on boxing and music and football soon. So thank you very much for listening.